Hello guys, welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about what is self-worth, how to build your self-worth. So let's get started. You see, self-worth evaluation, whether we are aware of it or not, is present in our day-to-day life. If you want to have an idea of how much, think of the number of times you compare yourself to someone when you walk down the streets, during your commute, when you watch videos on social media, or the amount of times you have compared two people, whether you know them in real life or online. In the book, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene taught us that power is at the center of every human interaction. It's like an invisible set of rules that is always present and no one talks about it. But if we were to consider power as the manifestation of how human beings compete for resources in the modern world, what is one underlying element of human nature that fuels the desire for more power, more resources, beyond the fulfillment of our basic survival needs? It is self-worth. The pursuit of more power, more resources is usually driven by our ego. Our ego is there to protect us from harm from a survival perspective. And in the modern world, our ego protects our image within our social tribe. Self-worth is one of the elements that our ego seeks to protect and grow, and sometimes does so through seeking more resources, more power, more recognition. But careful, because in the case of a wounded ego, nothing is enough to cover up a low self-esteem. We're all familiar with the quote explaining that the larger someone's ego display is, the larger the insecurities they're trying to cover up. So, how do you build self-worth? It is not something you build, for the simple reason that the term building implies that there's nothing there and you must put something and build it over time. Self-worth is part of our life from the moment we're born to the moment we take our last breath. It is always there. You don't build self-worth. You train your mind to become aware of what's already there and always will be. Many of us live in societies where we're trained to value the tangibles of life. Example, car, house, expensive clothes that you wear, which are all tangible. We can see them, we can perceive them, we can measure them. But human beings are made of more than their physical body. Our soul, for example, is intangible. You cannot see it, touch it, smell it. Our mind is intangible. Now, our brain is tangible. It's an organ. A surgeon can see it and touch it. But our mind cannot be seen or touched. It's intangible. And so are many things about us. And it is in that world of the intangibles that our self-worth resides. That's where it finds its home. The reason why the self-worth crisis is rampant nowadays is because many of us operate in societies where the emphasis is put from a young age about the tangibles of life. From the moment we're young, we're encouraged to go to school, get a degree, build a career, have status, get a car, a house, buy expensive clothes. And one of the biggest misconceptions of all time is the belief that collecting these material belongings and achievements and accolades will make your insecurities and low self-worth vanish into oblivion. Wrong. Self-worth, self-esteem are part of the intangible world. Remember, it's their home. Therefore, They can only be fulfilled by things that are part of the intangible world of a human being. It's not that material belongings are not good. They are. They give us comfort to navigate, the modern world. They cover for our survival needs in the physical world. However, trying to solve your self-worth issues with material things is like being super thirsty and someone giving you bread. Some people may attempt to use their material assets to build their self-worth, but when we have deep self-esteem issues, the material things can only distract us for so long before our past traumas, insecurities, and shadows starts to creep up to the surface when we are alone with our thoughts. There's a reason why some people do not like to sit alone with their thoughts. If you haven't done the work, you would rather choose distraction anytime over loneliness. You would rather hang out with your friends, go traveling, going to restaurants and all that, keeping your mind as busy as possible so you don't have the space and quietness that allows the turmoil from your intangible world to manifest into your awareness. I know this because it used to be me and my friends. We used to brag about how busy our social calendar was. Little did we know that us hanging out constantly was our escaping mechanism until I became aware and decided to do the inner work. But how do we end up with self-worth issues in the first place? How does one human go from being cute, perfect baby to becoming an adult with self-worth issues, a wounded ego, and self-esteem issues? That happens when somewhere around our developmental stage, one or many factors combined, such as traumatic events, having negative people around, whether it's family or friends, having people bullying us, or what I call societal bullying, which is the social pressure to be one thing and fit into one box, or else you're considered as less than. And the people you come across will make sure that you know. One or the combination of those things can lead to us growing up and carrying negative beliefs about ourselves. In our developmental stage, we are very influenceable. So once we have negative beliefs about ourselves, those beliefs are stored into our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind controls 95% of our life. 95% of our brain activity is unconscious. Can you imagine? This is one of the reasons why you'll find people who say, let's say they're looking for a healthy relationship, that's what they say, but their subconscious beliefs lead them to pick partners that are not good for them. That is the power of the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind wants one thing, but your subconscious mind is more powerful, therefore it will make you do things completely different until you gain awareness and stop your self-sabotaging patterns and reprogram your mind. So back to when we have negative beliefs stored into our subconscious mind. It impacts how we show up in the world. It impacts how we view ourselves, and it decreases the value we place in ourselves. If we grew up around people who told us that we were unlovable, many of us ended up believing it. If society told us that we were unlovable, many of us believed it. Therefore, for many of us, our sense of self-worth comes from what people around us told us about ourselves, what they taught us about ourselves. And we decided to unconsciously take it as truth. So in many ways, other people taught us our value. But here's the trick. One of the mindset shifts that have helped me tremendously in my life and helped me level up, change my self-concept, and be bolder in life is the following. I live by this. You should never let people define your worth. even if they love you. Why? Because they will always get it wrong. The reason why is no one knows you like you know yourself. No one spends the 24 hours, 7 days a week you spend with yourself. Nobody can read your mind and explore the depth of your creativity, your dreams, the details of your perspective in life, your darkest thoughts. Therefore, only you have full visibility of your capacities and wonders and shadows. Other people only know one aspect of you that is manifest on the outside. So if they evaluate your worth, it will always be wrong because it's miscalculated. They don't have 100% knowledge about you. So, how does that mindset help you in your confidence journey? Well, if you don't have a high sense of self worth and the level of self worth you have has been taught to you by other people, it is safe to discard it and reteach it to yourself. What does that mean? It means you get to redefine it for yourself. It is every person's responsibility to reteach themselves and redefine what their worth is. That way, they can get rid of their insecurities and learn to embrace themselves the way they are. It's like how when we begin our healing journey, we unlearn a lot of things that were taught to us by people who didn't know any better and start to reparent ourselves. It's the same process, just a different framework. Somehow, I feel the need to add the following clarification between brackets. If you have self-hate, or let's say the level of self-love you have is so low, below ground zero, your projection of yourself was so low, and you have people who care about you who, let's say, project your worth at this level, their evaluation of your worth will be wrong, yes, but at least it is above your own projection of your worth. So in that case, you can hold on to that, their projection of your worth, until you learn to love yourself and learn to heal and your self-love grows. It's a journey. Just be careful and be aware that therefore it means that you will be dependent on their validation, but just so you're aware. On the other hand, if you feel okay about yourself and love yourself to an extent, you're better off not relying on people's projection of your worth, because it will always be less than your actual worth. So, in my next lecture, I will talk about insecurities. I am so excited about this topic. I have been studying it for years, reading, researching, studying human beings and their behavioral patterns. And I'm so proud to have this knowledge, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So yeah, in the next lecture, we will talk about insecurities, where they come from. And yes, this channel is about self-worth, confidence, self-love from a spiritual perspective. But I believe in always healing a disease at the root. Therefore, before we talk about confidence, self-love, we will talk about insecurities, where our insecurities come from, how they're engineered into our minds. Yes, we learn our insecurities. You're gonna see how they're engineered into our minds. And by the end of this video series, by the end of this lecture series, you will see how the different elements that we'll talk about in this channel, whether it's confidence, people pleasing, having haters, trauma, etc., are all connected like a web and can all be traced back to the same original spot: self-worth. Peace out. I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.